Okay, hello, you learners. How are you doing? We are here today with a special treat for you. We have Farmer Eric from A2 Seed Company, and he is going to share with us a little bit about his business, a little bit about seed farming, and we want to say thank you for joining us and for sharing with us today.
Yeah, you're welcome. My name's Farmer Eric, and I've been working with Green Things Farm Collective and Ann Arbor Seed Company for a number of years now, where we grow vegetable seeds, we grow produce, and we have a small herd of beef cattle as well.
And can you tell us a little bit about what kind of seeds, what kind of plants that you farm?
I try to grow all kinds of vegetable seeds for the home gardener and for the small farmer. And I try to grow some flowers as well. And so vegetable seeds would be your greens like lettuce or spinach or kale or chard. It would be your garden summer fruits like tomatoes or eggplant or zucchini squash. And it'd be your roots like carrots or beets, and then flowers that go along with it, like sunflowers or marigold, and many more.
That sounds awesome.
Yeah,
And
it's a lot of fun.
how did you get into this work? Can you tell us a little bit about how you started into this line of work?
I really enjoy working outside. I enjoy working with my hands. I also like to be uh, a steward of the environment. I like to leave the soil and the earth better than I found it. And so I enjoy that part of being an organic farmer. Um, and I also find seed work in particular to be very beautiful. We get to let plants go to flower. We let the plants do their full life cycle until they produce seeds. And I find that to be fascinating and beautiful.
So I know what it means to grow a plant from a seed, and I can picture what it means to grow a vegetable in a garden, but you farm seeds. Can you talk more about what that means and kind of some of the steps in that process?
Yeah. Let me just hop over these oats. And yeah, now I'm
You're
next to some
literally
radish.
hopping.
Yeah, I literally hopped over there. I don't know how well this can show in the video here, but this flower here, which I'm just zooming in, woo, is the flower of a radish. And so when you're growing for seed, it's a lot like growing a vegetable crop where you plant seeds, you get the soil into a nice condition, you keep weeds away from them, and you keep them watered and the proper temperature so that they grow and thrive. But you also, instead of just growing it as a produce, you let it go for its full life cycle, where it will bloom and flower and produce its own seeds of its own.
That makes sense because I've grown radishes before, but I always pull the plant and eat the radish before I ever see a flower.
Yeah, and so it's sort of different case by case, but there are some vegetables like radish where the part that you eat is before the plant has flowered and set seed. So that'd be true of lettuce, that'd be true of spinach. Most of the greens are that way. But there are some plants like a tomato where the plant has already flowered, and the tomato fruit is the fruiting body of that plant that contains the seeds. And then you have other examples like a cucumber, where the cucumber is a fruit, but it's an immature fruit. So the seeds in the cucumber are not yet mature, at least the cucumber you eat. The cucumber you save seeds from looks like 3 or 4 times as big, and it's a big yellow, mushy, funny thing. So with seed saving, you get to see all sides of the plant.
So the plants that you use for seed saving, you don't, there's no produce that's made from them. You don't eat any food from those plants
So
generally.
that's also case by case. So if I wanted to have the seeds in a ripe red tomato, I can slice the tomato in half and scoop out the seeds from the middle, and then I could eat the rest of the tomato myself. I'm usually too busy for that, and I just pulp all the tomatoes, and then if I want to eat one fresh, I just eat a separate one. But you can have your cake and eat it too with those. Um, for some plants like lettuce, if you let it bolt, which refers to it going to flower before it goes to seed, you will not be able to eat that head of lettuce. So since I love food, the way I deal with that is I just plant twice as many lettuce as I need for seed. And so if I need 100 lettuce plants for seed, I'll plant 200, and then I'll eat 100 myself, and then I'll let the remaining 100 go to seed, because I love a good salad.
Nice. I love that you're bringing in some math for our students too.
Yeah, yeah, math is important.
So speaking of numbers, I've heard that this kind of work has been happening for a long time. Do you know anything about the history of seed farming and cultivation like this?
Oh, yes. I mean, saving seeds and growing our own food has been with people for at least 10,000 years. And it's such a big part of who we are as a culture, as a civilization. You know, like, what is it that makes people, if it's not sharing bread over dinner? And bread is made from wheat, and it's the seed of the wheat plant that we make bread from. And so there's a long history, and if you think of the long history of humans with rice, and the rice that you eat, that's the seed of the rice plant as well. So goes back long and deep. It's a part of who we are, and the plants that we grow in our garden are they are the way they are, and we're the way they are because of each other. That was confusing, but
Say more.
yeah. So when I'm growing a carrot, I'm doing kind of a dance with the carrot. I'm trying to teach the carrot to be the most delicious, beautiful carrot that I want. And so every year that I save seed, I save the carrots that are perfect and the ones that I want. So, but the carrots also, it's also teaching me how to save its own seed. It's teaching me, like, well, okay, I'll give you a beautiful carrot, but in turn, the human, the farmer, will save the seed and protect the seed and plant the seed. And so it's a give and take relationship. The carrot is delicious and feeding us, but we're also protecting it and helping it propagate its seeds.
So by producing seed, the plant is preserving its own genetic material, right? It's helping its species survive and continue on.
Yeah, exactly. And so you can think about the carrot has used its delicious self to convince us to prepare the ground and to weed and to water and to do all the things that provide a healthy environment for that carrot to thrive. They've convinced us to do that. And so we do that for their benefit, and they provide delicious carrots for our benefit. It's mutual. I think it's really great.
I love the idea of that healthy relationship, and to see you there with the sun shining and the birds singing in the background kind of helps me remember what you were saying about caring for the environment at the same time.
Absolutely. I figure if you're gonna work hard outside, you might as well do it in a way that makes the soil better and makes the air cleaner and makes the rivers cleaner.
So you do all these steps, you prepare the soil, you grow the plants and water them, you let them go to flower and they produce seeds. What do you do with the seeds then?
Well, some of the seeds I sell to other gardeners and farmers so that they can grow them. And I take seeds for myself and I grow them for our own farm and garden. Um, is that what you're asking?
Yeah.
Yeah.
And
So we go ahead.
so if someone, let's say someone bought some seeds from A2 Seed Company, what kind of, do you have any tips for things they should keep in mind to successfully grow those seeds? First germinate them and then grow those plants?
Yeah. Oh, I've got a couple of seed packs here with me. So this is a sunflower seed pack, and on the back here, see if we can get close enough to see seeds. I can't tell. There they are. There they are.
And it looks like there's instructions there too.
There are instructions, and so I would be thrilled if the farmers and gardeners that buy my seeds would have a successful year and have a successful crop. And so when you receive your seeds, most seeds all want some of the same things. They need water, they need good soil, they need the right temperature. And they need care especially when they're young, to get established. And so most seeds can be planted this time of year, really, in the spring or in the summer. Some seeds prefer it to be a little cooler, so that's a lot of your greens, like lettuce and spinach and peas. And some seeds want it to be a little warmer, like tomatoes and eggplants and peppers. And so knowing the time of year when they'll thrive is helpful.
So you can plant some seeds earlier in the growing season, but then wait for the weather to get warmer for others?
Yeah, I find I have a much better year if I'm not too impatient and I wait for the soil to warm up. Sometimes you have that first really beautiful day in the spring where it's warm outside and everyone just goes out and plays for the first time. And it's warm, but it's still it's still cold. Like, it's still early enough in the year that maybe next week it'll be cold. And that's maybe not always the best time to start the garden. You got to wait a little bit longer for everything to warm up, the soil and just the whole weather pattern.
And some types of plants can be germinated inside and started inside and then transplanted outside. Is that right?
Yeah, and that's a way that we can be tricky. And so we're taking tomato would be a great example. Tomato really doesn't like cold weather, and so what we do to get them started earlier, while it's still cold outside, we plant them inside, and we provide them with the moisture and the soil and the warmth that they like, and we also provide them with enough light. Sometimes you can use sunlight, or sometimes you have to use like a hanging light if you're inside. And then they germinate and sprout inside. And then as they grow, the weather outside is warming up. And, we're getting into late May, we're getting into June, and it's warm enough to put them outside. So we move that seedling, that sprouted seedling, to the outside.
Awesome. Well, we know that this is a busy time of year for you. We really appreciate you taking some time to share about your business and about your work with us. And before we go, I'm curious to know, are there any plants that you particularly like growing, any favorites or interesting things that you might want to share about some of your favorite things to farm and to grow?
I like growing all of the plants that I grow. It's hard to choose between my babies, but I've got a good one near me if I can jump to another row.
Great.
Yeah, I don't see how well you can see in the light. I can get under it. Totally. And if you've eaten kale, at this stage, it's got these little pods. And so this is already flowered. You can see the end of the flower right by my face here. But after it flowers, it forms these little pods, and the pods fill with seeds as the plant matures. And it's hard for you to see because this is a weird video, but I got a whole bunch of it behind me.
Wow.
And so it's going to be many, many thousands of seeds. I'm very excited about this crop.
Now, if that was just growing on its own, would those pods open and the seeds would spread by wind, or?
So that will happen in the next few weeks. So these pods are still green, they're still immature. So the seeds are young and not fully formed. But in the next few weeks, the seeds will finish forming, and the plant then will be finished with its job. And the plant will start to dry down, and these green pods will turn tan and yellow. And then the pods will start to shatter, to split on their own, and the seeds will be released. The seeds of kale look like little BBs. They're little ball bearings. They're like little roly balls. So they won't carry with the wind or get stuck on the fur of an animal. They'll pretty much fall where they are. They rely on, they will fall where they are, and they'll grow where they fall. But they're also counting on me to scoop them up. And so like some seeds will carry in the wind, and some seeds will get stuck on an animal. And these seeds are going to be able to convince me to put them in the post office and mail them to everywhere in the country. So how's that for a dispersal method?
Yeah, that's neat. And I guess
Yep.
it makes sense to me because kale would die back to the ground in the winter time, right?
Kale can be pretty tough. Some kale can survive the winter.
Okay.
This red Russian kale behind me actually did survive this last winter. It's not the cold that gets it, it's the deer that gets it.
Ah. So maybe that plant might get eaten, but its
Yep.
seed would be in the soil for the next growing season to sprout back.
Yep.
If you don't get there first and send them to
Yeah.
someone like me.
Oh, I won't get them all.
Anything else that you want to share with us or show us before we sign off?
Oh goodness. I'm just thrilled to be able to work outside and to provide good food and seeds for people. I hope y'all are inspired to grow some of your own gardens and to save some of your own seeds. The really special thing about seed saving is it really feels like it's something you've done on your own. And you don't have to be some kind of specialist expert to do your own seed saving. You can save your own seed in your garden and plant them yourself and then call it your own. And I think that's really special and something everyone should do.
Well, that's awesome. Well, this is Mr. Ambrosino from the Environmental Education Program. On behalf of our science learners, we want to say thank you to Farmer Eric for sharing with us today. And students, remember that invitation that Farmer Eric just gave to you to do some experimenting of your own. You don't have to be an expert to get started, to plant some seeds, to grow some food, and maybe even harvest some seeds of your own. Have a great day, everyone. See you soon.